Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here. In today's video, we'll be talking about Deebo Samuel, some of his insane off-season workouts. He looks like he's in good shape and continuing to get into better shape. He also reconnected with a former wide receiver coach that he had the best season in his career under him. And yeah, if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well. Comment down below your season projections for Deebo Samuel. It's been a minute since I've talked about Deebo on the channel, so we're getting right to the draft, but this is like the little slow period where there's not a lot to talk about, so I want to talk about Deebo. Also, rest in peace to Kyron Lacy, former LSU wide receiver, very close with Jaden Daniels, passed away yesterday, I believe, so praying for him and his family. Hopefully, his family's as good as they can be in a time like this. But Jaden Daniels, he's going through it too. I saw on his social media posts 15 stories about him, very close to him. So yeah, really unfortunate situation there. All right, so Deebo Samuel, he has been working out a lot. There's been a lot of criticism from fans and stuff that he's overweight, blah blah blah. A lot of people like to make fun of him, so he's been working out a lot. And just a weight update real quick. So there's people talking about him being 20 pounds 30 pounds overweight. He was at 225 last year, 225, so maybe not where you exactly want him to be, but it's an okay spot. 225, but it's less than most people thought he was at, maybe 230, 235. Ideal is probably 215, 220. You don't want him to be 210, 205, but 215, 220 is good. Lose 5-10 pounds. It's not too hard for him to do, and it seems like he is getting that work in right now. So I'll show you guys this clip. This was a few weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, and just him running around a little bit. You see him right there doing some sprints, some speed work. So good to see him doing that. And overall, it's hard to see from there, but it looks like he's in, on the left here, it looks like he's in decent shape, a lot better shape than he was, at the, last season, end of last season, and this off season, beginning of this off season. So he looks good there. Here is a clip from him doing some boxing stuff. We'll go through it right here. So you got Deebo doing some boxing stuff, which is good. Very, very good cardio work, for anyone, and it's good for football players to do that too. You see him there. He looks like he's in good shape. And yeah, just getting that work in. So that's good for sure. This was about a month ago. So he's getting that work in, which is good. You guys can see this. I'll play it while I'm talking, but like I said, looks in good shape, better shape than he was last year, which is already a plus. And I think once stuff ramps up in the football season, he's going to get into even better shape, and it's good that he's motivated. He's got a chip on his shoulder. I think he's going to have a better season than most people think, and he wants to prove those doubters wrong. So he also has a lot of people that are holding him accountable. They want to see him succeed. They want to see him work out. I think it was his brother, his friend, called him the other day and was like, hey, have you worked out today? And that's good, having people like that in your life that are gonna keep you accountable, that are gonna get you to work out. That's good. So those are some of the workouts. I was trying to find another one. He was in a sauna. It was like a post workout or whatever, but that's another thing that's good for athletes to do. I'm not a doctor or anything, but yeah, Deebo getting that work in, and Wes Welker, he got reunited with Deebo Samuel this past week. They hired him as a personnel assistant or analyst, whatever. He'll be working with the players, with the coaches, and it's good to have him in the building. And Deebo's best season, Wes Welker, who was the coach, and he didn't get fired or anything from San Francisco. He just went to Miami because Mike McDaniel got hired to the Dolphins as the head coach. He did get fired from the Dolphins at some point, but not from the 49ers. So obviously has a connection with Deebo, with Adam Peters, and then maybe like some other people as well within the organization, but these are the main guys. So yeah, I think it's good to have him back. Deebo, when this, not trade, I was about to say trade, when they hired Wes Welker, he was on Twitter, he was happy about it. You see them talking to each other here. So seems like Wes Welker will also keep Deebo accountable, will get him working as much as possible, and it's good to have a familiar coach in the building, besides just, Adam Peters isn't a coach, but he's a front office guy. So having someone else like Wes Welker that was a former coach for you and now is coming back into the mix of the coaching world with the Commanders, I think that's a good hire for sure. Just looking over some Deebo things, stats wise, let's see, 50, I don't know why, there we go. Looking at his stats, last year was the worst year of his career. Did not have a good year at all. 670 receiving yards for a guy that's getting paid as much as him is not good enough. 3 touchdowns, was overweight, like we mentioned earlier, at least for his standards and most receiver standards as well. But still put up okay numbers. But Brandon Ayuk was out. He should have been getting a lot more. He should have had a lot more production for being the number one, but he didn't end up being the number one because Juwan Jennings was actually playing well and Deebo wasn't. The year before it was fine. It wasn't great, but it was 900 yards, 7 touchdowns, 225 rushing yards, and 5 touchdowns. The year before, the thing is, he doesn't miss a lot of games besides 2020 where he did miss a lot of games. He misses a game here or there, but he's always banged up. Like if you have him in fantasy, you always know that he's banged up throughout the season. So 2022, 632 yards, 2 touchdowns. 2021 was the big year, 1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns. Also had 365 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns. So 14 total touchdowns, like 1,800 yards from scrimmage. Had an amazing year. And he doesn't really fumble. He had 3 fumbles, 2 fumbles lost in 2022. It's funny. That was the only year he had fumble issues. Every other year, he hasn't even had a single fumble. Like, not even... I guess receiving's different, but in terms of rushing. So it's interesting. 2022 was, a little bit of a big year for fumbles for him. And, I guess he has... I was just looking at all the stats. He's got 1 completion for 24 yards and a touchdown, and that was in 2021 as well. But Deebo Samuel, I think he'll have a good year this year. I don't think it's going to be 1,400 yards by any means, but I don't think it's going to necessarily be 670 yards. I could see like a 2023 type of season for him, maybe like 960 yards, 8 touchdowns, good blocking receiver, and then kind of like this past season for him in San Francisco with the rushing total, maybe the carries a little bit lower. Like I could see, I don't know, something like 30 carries for like 130 yards or something like that and a touchdown or so. I don't think he necessarily should be getting 42, 60 carries. You can give him some carries, but keep him as healthy as possible. Give him some carries if he needs to, like 1 or 2 a game, but I think that's it. You don't need to give him more than that. He's a receiver, very good receiver. You can get him touches by just throwing screen passes to him or short passes, and that's where he's best. Yards after catch, in space, and he can break tackles too. Just running in between the numbers. He can do it, of course, but I don't think that's necessarily his strong suit. His first year, 11 yards a carry, but after that, there wasn't a season where he was that. 6 yards, 5, 6 is good, but definitely. Some of that was inflated by, some trick plays and longer rushes. I'm not saying he's a bad rusher by any means, but I think there's more effective ways to use him than, he's been used, especially this past year in 2024 as a rusher. And I think, he's somewhat efficient, for a receiver running the ball. But I think, you want to limit those carries so he doesn't get hurt. And, you can use the short passing game is an extension of the run game. So you can give him, screens, stuff like that, and he'll be able to, use that and, run after catch, stuff like that, get as many yards as possible. But yeah, he's definitely not a bad runner, and, especially for a receiver, he's decent. But especially last year, the efficiency numbers just weren't great, and I don't know if it's worth it giving him that many carries and, possibly getting him hurt. But that is it for today's video. Just wanted to, we'll talk about some of the workout, or just show you guys some of the workout videos, talk about Deebo, what he's going to be doing this year, my expectations for him. I'll go ahead and give a quick prediction. I'll go 920 yards, 6 touchdowns, and then 120 rushing yards and a touchdown. That's my prediction for Deebo Samuel and the Cliff Kingsbury offense. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and peace.